Howdy y'all, this is CJ here, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be reacting to the B-17 that flew without a cockpit. Now this was recommended to me by a fellow by X Christmas 561. I think that's how it's pronounced. But never seen this before. If you guys have any recommendations or requests, be sure to put that down in the comments below. If you guys want to help me out with this, the current goal for this channel right now is 1,000 subscribers. If you guys can help me out with that, it's really simple. All you have to do is like, share, and subscribe, and that'll help me out greatly. And if you guys want to, you guys also can hit the bell icon down below so that you're notified next time I post up a reaction. But with everything said and done, let's go ahead and bring up the video, and let's go ahead and find out what this is all about.
It was the 14th of July, 1944, a thunderous evening. Cruising at 25,000 feet, 24-year-old First Lieutenant Ewald Swanson of the 483rd Bomb Group was pilot of a B-17G Flying Fortress, nicknamed Mizpah, its tail number 42-32-109. Their mission was to strike at the very heart of the Nazi stronghold in Budapest, Hungary. The formation consisted of 60 flying fortresses, and as they entered Hungary, they were bombarded by relentless curtains of thick flak. Explosions erupted all around Mizpah, shredding the tail section and punching holes into the battle-worn wings. Nonetheless, the B-17 formation presses through the initial flak bombardment and heads inbound towards their main target, the Ferencváros railroad yards. This was one of the most heavily defended and strategically vital targets of the late war, critical for the movement of troops, equipment and oil, keeping the German war machine alive. Now, just seconds away from the target, Bombardier 2nd Lieutenant Kenneth Dudley lines up the Sperry bomb site and successfully releases their bombs. All of a sudden, chaos erupts. A Flak 88 round lands square on the nose of Mizpah. The nose explodes, vaporizing the bombardier and the navigator, whilst covering the front of the fortress in blood. The nose peels off above the aircraft, and shrapnel from the cockpit ricochets throughout the cabin, piercing wing gunner Sergeant Wesley Tucker in the chest. The inside temperature plummets to a freezing -30 degrees. Due to the extreme damage, the center of gravity shifts to the tail, causing the fortress to pitch up into a vertical. They were mere seconds away from stalling out and entering a death spiral. Astonishingly, First Lieutenant Ewald Swanson, despite no longer having a cockpit, regains control of the battered B-17 and re-enters the formation. The crew of a nearby B-17, nicknamed Yvonne, couldn't believe what they were seeing. A blood-soaked B-17 without a nose pulls up alongside them in one of the most haunting sights of the war. Mizpah was strangely flying as if nothing had happened. What was happening inside the B-17 was even more impressive. Since there was no cockpit or control column left to maneuver the aircraft, under the screaming command of pilot Swanson, the crew had begun to fly the aircraft by pulling the exposed control cables by hand. Despite having lost a significant part of the aircraft, this flying fortress and its injured crew refused to go down, a symbol of unwavering courage and indomitable machine spirit. However, over 200 Flak 88 guns still had their sights set on the formation. Suddenly, another explosion rattles the B-17. A flak barrage destroys their number 2 engine as the fortress begins to lose power and airspeed. With the nose blown off and an engine gone, Mizpah and her crew, through sheer determination and will, kept the aircraft airborne. However, the effects of drag from all the damage received was increasing by the second. Mizpah had fallen far behind the formation by now. For a perilous 10 minutes, the crew battled the control cables to get as far away from the hornet's nest as possible. Now, over Dunaveks, Hungary, pilot Ewald Swanson informs his crew to immediately bail out whilst he held it steady. 7 crew members successfully bail out of the aircraft. Swanson could no longer tame the crippled fortress on his own. Immediately, the B-17 pitches up, trapping Swanson inside the fuselage. He grabs the parachute and keeps it close to him, waiting for the B-17 to stall out. As the fortress comes to a standstill, Swanson takes the opportunity to jump out of the front.
Just want to pause it real quick just so I can get some of my thoughts out on this. So, the fact that he's still in what's left of the cockpit is insane. And the fact that he's having the rest of his crew literally pulling cords and stuff to try to get this, to make this plane be able to turn and bank and all this other stuff, that's incredible as well. So, just want to put that out there. I think that's pretty cool.
But just as he does, his chute catches the torn metal of the cockpit, ripping through the fabric with brutal force. This was a blessing in disguise.
Not exactly
however,
something you want to have
as
happen.
If the fabric hadn't torn, he would have gone down with the ship, pinned by centrifugal forces. Swanson is violently flung back, narrowly missing the tail section of the B-17. The young pilot momentarily passes out, whilst falling out the sky from 20,000 feet. When he opened his eyes, he was seconds away from hitting the ground. First Lieutenant Ewald Swanson immediately opens his parachute, but notices that it had sustained significant damage. The chute was not slowing him down enough for a safe landing. The landing was going to be brutal, one that he was unlikely to walk away from or even survive. By sheer luck, on the way down, he spots what he believed to be an enemy POW camp in the middle of a dense forest. Swanson positions himself on top of the trees by the camp, hoping it would break his fall. Several seconds later, he crashes into the dense treetop. First Lieutenant Swanson suffers a broken left leg alongside deep tissue cuts from the tree branches. Against all odds, he survives the landing. The German medics of the POW camp quickly spot Swanson's body in the brush and recover him. They administer life-saving first aid to the young pilot, who has at this point stared death in the face and kept going. In fact, to his amazement, he finds out that the entire crew of his B-17 had survived. His crew were captured
That's a good
nearby,
thing.
only to meet up at the same camp their pilot had somehow.
That's good. The fact that his entire crew, well, I wouldn't say the entire crew because he did lose 2 people when the nose came off, but the fact that the rest of the crew is still alive, even though they are POWs, is remarkable.
Ended up at a happy accident, as they put it. The crew would endure 9 long months through the harsh cold winter at the POW camp. On the 30th of April 1945, US troops would liberate the crew of Mizpah. The war for these young men had finally come to an end. The 8 survivors would return home to the USA that night. Ewald Swanson's bravery that day would earn him the prestigious rank of Lieutenant Colonel before his retirement from the United States Air Force. After the war, he returned to a quieter life, marrying his beloved Catherine Swanson and raising a son together at Michigan, USA. Yet, it was the bond with his B-17 crewmates that remained closest to his heart. In the decades that followed, they would often reunite, old warriors with weathered hands and bright eyes, sharing stories of impossible missions and the unbreakable brotherhood they forged when they were barely more than kids. Swanson would pass away peacefully on the 28th of February 2009 at the age of 89, remembered not only as a war hero, but as the only known pilot to have ever flown an aircraft without a cockpit. Only Mizpah and the men who dared to ride her into hell and back could ever truly understand what that meant.
Let's see here. The whereabouts of their beloved B-17 Mizpah is unknown. The remains of her crew are yet to be found. Second Lieutenant Joseph H. Henderson, navigator, and Second Lieutenant Kenneth W. Dudley. Their sacrifice deserves to be remembered. How many learn of it depends on you. Honor them by leaving a free like, comment, subscribe. Keep their story alive forever.
Only 4.2% of the viewers watching this video are subscribed. It takes countless weeks to write and produce these videos, but it takes just a second of your time to click that subscribe button. It's completely free, but helps us out immensely in bringing this content to you. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.
Alright. So, that was the B-17 that flew without a cockpit. Very insightful. It was a short clip. It was only like a 7.5 minute video. So there wasn't really a whole lot of time for me to be able to put my 2 cents in. I had to actually figure out how to put it in there. But it was a nice video. It was insightful. If you guys have any recommendations or requests that you guys want to make of me to of what you guys want me to react to, put it in the comments down below. Again, the current goal for this channel is 1,000 subscribers. If you guys can help me with that, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you're notified next time I post up a reaction. Now, with all that being said and done, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.